On today's episode, we recap Project Pooper Trooper. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for the final installment of Project Pooper Trooper. That's right, our beloved 1988 Isuzu Trooper is done. It's finished. We've touched everything we need to touch. Now it's just a legacy project that we'll maintain as we continue to drive the truck because I absolutely love it. I loved it from the very get-go. It's been a fantastic truck. I've been putting more mileage on it. But anyway, it didn't start off as a beautiful, amazing truck that you see now. So let me take you guys back to what it looked like when it rolled in the garage and what it looks like today. Let's get in the garage and get a little reminiscent. And welcome to the Auto Obsessive Garage, my 1988 Isuzu Trooper 2. Things we need to address to make it a pretty cool, reliable, adventure mobile. This thing does have 282,000 miles on it. So that is pretty awesome. But let's do a tour of the vehicle. I'm super pumped. Trucks like this really get me going. I just love it. It's like that good boxy shape. It looks awesome. But yeah, exterior tour. So first thing you notice, the paint taking on that kind of pink hue as red paint fades. I think we can hit it with some compound polish it up, buff it quite a bit, and we get it to shine again, which would be pretty cool. These tires though, let me tell you about these tires. These are Falcon Rocky Mountains, and as you can see, they are just dry rotted all through, even in the tread, dry rotted. These are probably 20-year-old tires at this point, so they definitely need to be replaced. I reckon we can take care of that pretty easy. So new tires are definitely in the works. Coming up here, we do have a little crack, or actually a pretty pronounced crack right across the middle of the windshield there. Gonna be taking care of that. Little bumper bang there. We might knock that out with a hammer. We are gonna take care of these windshield wiper arms. Nice and crusty. We'll have to sand those down pretty hard and then hit them up with some primer and paint. Let's poke around the interior of this Isuzu Trooper. Coming in the driver's door, you'll notice that this handle is completely removed, so I'm gonna have to find a way to attach that again. It's also wrapped in some kind of, looks like athletic tape. Don't know what the story is there, but you can see this tape here on the steering wheel. What's happened is there's actually a crack all the way through the steering wheel, so I'm gonna be replacing that because I don't know what happened, whether something super sharp cut that or a seam ripped apart. Who knows the story on that, but we'll replace that. Seats in general are in decent shape. Obviously, right here, we're gonna have to patch that. I don't know if I can sew that. I can try. I might be able to get some heavy duty thread. It might not look perfect, but we might be able to patch this up a little bit, but it's a truck, Right here, this seam can definitely be sewn up, but the passenger seat, really good overall. The dash isn't cracked apart or anything like that, so that's always good. Super simple in here. There was a spot for a radio, but there isn't a radio in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and probably take that out and take all the speakers out. Something you might have noticed isn't here is the carpeting. So you'll see just the padding there, the kind of sound insulation, stuff like that. Same with the back seat. We need to get carpeting in this, not just floor mats, but an entire carpeting job. Carpet tended to shred apart. It wasn't high quality originally. So we'll get some good carpeting here to match this kind of gray. It's like a brownish gray, but it's grayish interior. We'll make it look decent in here. I gotta have some kind of carpet. It's just a little too rough as it is. But I mean, look at the space. That seat also folds down, the rear seat. As you can see, it is torn. We'll patch that up. We're gonna do just basic stuff, guys. We do have NGK plug wires. I can see those. Those look to be good. I will be doing the plugs, just as a maintenance item. We'll be doing the air filter, oil change on her. Upon inspecting the valve cover super closely, you can see some wet oil on the sides, more towards the rear. It definitely warrants a valve cover gasket replacement. Should be pretty easy to get to. Also gonna do a coolant flush on the truck. It's always good to do this on high mileage trucks on a regular basis. It's not milkshaky, but it does have a little rusty hint towards it. And that just happens, these cooling systems can get a little crusty. So I might flush it a few times and then put some fresh coolant in there. That's really good for these older cooling systems. So that'll be on our list of things to do. Fresh. Yeah, pretty dark, so it's probably been a little while. Go ahead and let that drain out. Should be like a 4.5 quart dump there. And then we'll get ready to add our fresh oil after we change out the filter too. Add our 10W30. I'm going with Mobil 1 high mileage. 4.4 quarts is what it recommends. So what we're gonna do is add this beautiful fresh oil. And we're gonna go ahead and add our bottle of Thermocure at this time. We're gonna put the rest in distilled water. We're gonna run that probably for a good week or so, and then we'll drain it out, do a few flushes, fill it up with regular coolant, and we should have a much cleaner coolant system. So let's go ahead and add our product. Oh my God, it's like disgusting looking. Holy crap. Remember, this is just Thermocure mixed with water, and look at the color. How nasty was our cooling system? It's really dark green. Okay, we're gonna let that continue to drain all the way out, and then we're gonna flush the system with hose water. Just do the radiator while we have the hose disconnected, and then we'll go ahead, seal that hose back up, do a couple heat cycles with just water, and then we'll do our coolant. But man, it looks like this stuff did some work. And that's pretty good, guys. I don't think I'm gonna get too much cleaner than that from an old system like that. But this is the 4th full water flush after using the Thermocure. So it took a long time to get here. I did about 2 heat cycles for each one after the first. So the water stayed in there a little longer, cleaned up a little better. But here we go. That's pretty damn clean water to be coming out of a cooling system this old. So we're gonna go with it. With everything drained out of the system, it is finally time to add our 50-50 mixture of coolant, your coolant of choice. A little shaky shake there, and that valve cover is nice and loose. Should come right up at this point. There we go. Valve cover removed from our Isuzu Trooper. Oh yeah. This old gasket is hard as plastic in some parts. Definitely time for a replacement. That's why she was leaking. Either this thing had new heads put on it, or this is the most miraculous, cleanest 283,000 mile 2.6 liter Isuzu I-Tech engine I've ever seen in my life. All right, definitely gonna vacuum out this box, a little dirty in here. It's got some good debris in there, so we'll go ahead and we'll replace that. And let's drop in our shiny new air filter. Perfect. Once you get your Trooper front wheel off, this is what you're gonna be looking at. This is obviously the locking hub assembly. This all needs to come off, obviously, before you can access the rotor and pads. So and with the front brakes all assembled, the hub all assembled, the last thing I like to do is give it a good old shot with brake clean. Get all that dirty, greasy fingerprint stuff we got on it. With everything pressured up, it's time to go start cracking open some bleeder valves. I'm gonna break open the bleeder. There we go, flowing like coffee. We'll wait till that clears right up. Obviously, of course, we're gonna see the damage, and geez, look at this fluid, guys. That is nice and thick. This brake fluid had been long overdue for a change, so. Here we have the Trooper's passenger seat, and as you can see, this region here is tearing apart. But yeah, this is just coming apart. This is due to the leather aging, and it will continue to tear along the threads there. So we should address it, take care of it now, reinforce it. It won't look beautiful, but at least it'll keep it from entirely ripping down that seam. Let's see what we can do. Looking much better. That's gonna hold together quite nicely, and it just, gonna improve the overall look of the interior. And here's what what our upholstery water looks like. What do you guys think of that? Pretty gnarly stuff. Now that's looking a lot better. A little bit of cracking up top there, you can see, but it's actually held on there in place now, so I can shut the door pretty easily. And it's not wrapped in medical tape. So here's a rough kind of mock-up of where that middle section is going to go. As you can see, it's going to cover most of the center console area, most of the seat bracket area. Now this is some of the custom stuff you have to do. Get yourself a nice razor blade, cutting out around the base of the seat here. Leave a little extra material and then work your way in. You can always cut more. You don't want to cut too much at first and be left with an open spot where you don't have carpet coverage. So just work your way in. I'm going to cut that. Then obviously the center part and then the other seat. Tough stuff's going to be the manual transmission and four-wheel drive gearbox lever there. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But let's do these seats first and get it nice and tight. And then just kind of pull the old wheel off. Here's our new one. I'm gonna clean the new one up before I install it. Steering wheels get pretty funky, especially 30-year-old ones, but so you can see I've removed the gauge cluster. Obviously the fuel and temp lights were out. I replaced them with regular bulbs and you get this really cool incandescent look, orange, and as you can see the oil one is still the original green light bulb. But I think they actually look cool like that. Since we went with the orange lights in this center cluster, we're gonna do it with the gauge pod here. But you can see you have to remove the cowl first. Once you get that out of the way, you can access the backside. These bulbs are plugged in, so just be aware of that. And time to test that cargo dome light. Door open. Oh yeah. Door closed. Door open. Door closed. Love it. We're looking at the driver's door of our Isuzu Trooper. Yeah, that paint's looking a little pink, a little faded for sure. We're gonna try to bring it back